Hey, Central Minnesota, we got your fishing forecast again this week from Sport North. Today is Monday, July 31st. We'll get started. It looks like we have some good fishing days coming up. The best times to be out there right now are still at 5:30 to 7:30 in the morning, and then in the evening from 7:15 to 9:15. Those are the first and last 2 hours of daylight, and that's really when fish like to feed, especially when we have these sunny, warm days. So, again, look to get out early or stay late. Looking at Tuesday, I got a 9 out of 10 for both the morning and the evening. We do have a full moon, which makes that minor moon period right around sunrise and another one right around sunset. So that really enhances fish activity during those hours of daylight. We have cloudy skies, so that always helps us with how clear the lakes are around here. South winds 5 to 10, and we have a pressure that's pretty steady now. That's got back down to the kind of the average range. We were around that 30.1 Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and now we're going to start to see it drop and get into that more average range, that more comfortable range for fish to be feeding. So Tuesday, looking awesome. I give that a 9 out of 10, almost a perfect day. So Wednesday looks pretty good as well, except for the skies are going to be clearing. The pressure's still going to be in that average zone, which is good. It's very light wind on Wednesday as well. So I only give Wednesday a 7 out of 10 in the morning. It is the first day after a full moon, which is good for fishing. The first couple days before and after a full moon tend to be good fishing days. So in the evening, I give it a 7 out of 10 again. The pressure is going to be falling, so down to 29.9, so I like that. So Wednesday, not a bad day, 7 out of 10, both morning and evening. Thursday morning, I'm only giving it a 6 out of 10, just because we're going to have very light east winds. The pressure's still okay. It's in that, it's still in that 29.9 range. Second day after a full moon still can be good. So I'm only giving that a 6 out of 10. But Thursday, I'm going to give that an 8 out of 10 because clouds are going to start moving in. The pressure is going to start to drop. And we still have that moon affecting fishing activity. So Thursday evening is another great night to be on the water. That's an 8 out of 10. Friday, if the forecast holds true, it's looking like we're going to have scattered storms, cloudy skies. We have an east wind, which I'm not always a fan of, but if it's going to be cloudy and the pressure's still falling like they are anticipating, I see Friday being a pretty good day. I give that an 8 out of 10 as long as, the thunderstorms stay away from you or you're not out there when it's when you're getting those storms. Friday evening, again, looking like rain possibly, so 29.8 is the pressure. I like that low pressure, that's falling pressure. So Friday, give that an 8 out of 10 as well. That's all obviously going to depend on what the weather actually does with that low pressure. But I do like that cloud cover on those days as well. So one thing I want to talk about today is a hook that lure I always have tied on one of my rods. This is just a Rattlin Rap. Different brands make similar things, these lipless crankbaits. What's nice about this is when you're targeting fish that are just outside of those tall weeds, and 8 to 10 feet of water around here, you don't really want to troll over them in this clear water because those fish will spook. And our weed lines do a lot of this, so it's really hard to sometimes troll these long extended weed lines. You can cast this thing 40, 50 yards, so you kind of can get trolling out of a cast with this. I like that they're lipless because you can rip them through weeds, and a lot of times when you run into a weed, that triggers a strike from a fish. So again, I love these things. You can cover a lot of water just like trolling. And they're just a really, really fast and efficient way to fish. And they're versatile. Some guys use these things in the winter. You can use them as jigging them, just retrieving them, stopping, pausing. These things work great. What I also like too is when I cast them out there, I don't start reeling right away. I let it sink for 3, 4, 5 seconds so you can get right down to that depth you want to be at and then start pulling. These things are extremely loud. Okay, that's not hooks rattling, that's the rattle. So these things call and fish from a long ways away. When fishing slow, this also is a lot of times one of my go-to lures. So I've been catching largemouth, northern pike, and I've caught some of my biggest walleyes in the middle of summer on this thing in 8 to 12 feet of water. So this is a great bait to cover ground with, especially when it's that depth where it's tough to troll. I do know a lot of the fish after this big warm front we had last week have pushed out. A lot of them walleyes and northerns have pushed out in the 25 to 30 feet. So you can see those on your electronics, and just cover ground with bottom bouncers and spinners. Or if it's a big enough area, you can also troll those areas too with some lead cores or some deep diving cranks. So edge of the tall weeds, there's always gonna be fish in there. And then as this water heats up, there is a chunk of fish that eventually transition out to that deeper water. So those are 2 places to look right now, and you should find some fish and put some fish in the net. So have a great week. Have fun. We'll see you on Thursday.